All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a look at the life and career of Emma Watson, an actress who, basically grew up right in front of our eyes and then decided to redefine herself completely on her own terms.
I mean, for so many of us, she is one specific character, right? But her real story? Well, that's all about moving beyond that single globally famous identity. So let's dive in and see exactly how she pulled that off.
Okay, so let's get the basics down first. She was born in Paris to British lawyers. Now, we all know her as an actress and a model, but what's really key here, and what we're going to see, is how her work as an activist and her education, getting that English Lit degree from Brown University, are just as important to who she is. So, her journey to stardom, it didn't just start when she picked up a wand. Nope, it started way before that. From the time she was 6, she knew this was what she wanted to do. And this wasn't just some kid's dream. She was serious about it. She went to the Stagecoach Theater Art School, studying singing, dancing, acting, the whole deal. And get this, by age 7, she'd already won a poetry competition. So that passion, that drive, it was there from the very beginning.
And then, when she was just 9 years old, it happened. The role came along, a role that would change her life and define an entire decade of it, making her a household name all over the planet.
That's right, 8 films. She starred in all 8 of them. I mean, think about it. The whole thing kicked off with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone way back in 2001 and didn't wrap up until The Deathly Hallows Part 2 in 2011.
That's a decade. 10 whole years. She basically dedicated her entire childhood and her teenage years to playing the brilliant Hermione Granger. I mean, she literally grew up on those film sets with all of us watching.
And right from the get-go, from that very first movie, the critics were paying attention. The Daily Telegraph said her performance was admirable, and they loved how confident and natural she came across. Honestly, a lot of reviewers said she pretty much stole the show.
Now, this is what I find so interesting. It shows this commitment to education, which, as you'll see, becomes a huge theme in her life. I mean, even with the insane schedule of filming a blockbuster movie, she was still a serious student. We're talking up to 5 hours of tutoring a day, and she still managed to get top grades. And her connection to Hermione, it was so deep. At one point, she actually considered leaving the role before the final films, but in the end, she just couldn't bring herself to do it. She later said that the character was just too important to her. She couldn't imagine letting someone else finish Hermione's story.
So, okay, the last Harry Potter film wraps, and the big question on everyone's mind is, what now? Seriously, how do you follow up a role that basically defined a generation?
And this, right here, I think this really gets to the heart of her journey. It's all about that transition, right? From playing this beloved fictional hero who we all know for her smarts and her fierce sense of justice, to becoming a real-life person who actually fights for those exact same things.
After Potter, she made some really smart, deliberate choices with her acting to show everyone what she could do. I mean, just look at the range here. She goes from an indie drama to playing this fame-obsessed character in The Bling Ring, and then boom, a biblical epic, a huge Disney blockbuster, and a classic like Little Women.
And speaking of that Disney blockbuster, wow, what a success that was. Beauty and the Beast brought in more than $1.2 billion worldwide. That really proved that her star power was still growing long after she'd left Hogwarts.
But acting was just one piece of the puzzle for her post-Potter life. She started using that huge platform she had for something she was really passionate about.
So in 2014, she was appointed a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, and she stepped onto this massive global stage. She gave this landmark speech at the UN, and she offered this really clear, powerful definition of feminism. She wanted to make sure everyone understood what it really meant. And this was the line that everyone remembers. She ended her speech with this question: if not me, who? If not now, when? And this was the launch of the He for She campaign, which was all about inviting men to join the fight for gender equality.
And the impact of that speech, it was massive, just incredible. For example, Malala Yousafzai, the Nobel laureate, she actually credited Emma's speech with helping her finally embrace the word feminist for herself. I mean, that's about as powerful an endorsement as you can get.
Right. And this just goes to show her activism wasn't a one-off thing. She's traveled the world to promote girls' education. She started this global feminist book club called Our Shared Shelf. It became a really central part of who she is.
So when you put it all together, the actress, the scholar, the activist, how do all these pieces fit? What's her legacy?
Well, what you get is this incredibly multifaceted identity. She's managed to build this career that perfectly balances her acting work with her academic side and her really serious advocacy. She's even a fashion icon who's made a point to partner with ethical brands.
And yet through all of this fame and success, she seems to have stayed incredibly grounded. There's this great little story from 2014 when she won a major BAFTA award. She dedicated it to her pet hamster, Millie, who had died while she was filming the very first Harry Potter movie. It's just a small, personal moment, but it really shows you the person behind the enormous public figure.
So that brings us back to the big question. What does it take to define yourself when the world already thinks it knows who you are? Well, Emma Watson's story is pretty much a masterclass in how to do just that. She proved that one magical role didn't have to be the whole story, but that it could be just the first chapter in a much bigger book. That's our explainer for today.